introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intention is teaching. Their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, increasing retention from teachers, 50 to 80%. They ain't all that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his STIP methodology, really. Dream, be persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it. This what you learning with Dr. Joe Griffin. With Dr. Joe Griffin, yeah. He says recognize trauma, push past the pain. If you got a problem, go look at his frame. Work your perspective and look at it change. Find a goal, set it in critical thing. Manage time, self-awareness. These are the few of the things he's trying to get you to do every day. Do every day. Led 5 schools to increase test scores with his teacher-principal collaboration. Things he gives to you will have you take you drive to the next level. But first, you need to get some fuel at gas station. Supporting education leaders, creating a culture for kids that'll last for ages. Lack of access to quality professional development, that's outrageous. Got his doctorate in education, leadership, research, make changes. Need to put the kids first and raise them. Need to teach them they worth, stop playing. Later on, they gon' run this nation. Dr. Joe with his dissertation taught to those who would fix, make changes. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intentions. The teaching and talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, increasing retention from teachers, 50 to 80%. They ain't all that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his DIP methodology, really. Dream, be persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it. This what you learning with Dr. Joe Griffin. With Dr. Joe Griffin.
Great day, leaders. Welcome to the Speaking Life and the Youth Leadership live stream. I am your host, Dr. Joe Griffin, where we talk leadership dynamics, personal and professional growth, educational trends to help you provide solutions and create a culture of collaboration. Let's go. I hope everyone is doing okay out there today. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you. Week 8, you all. Week 8. We want to start with a little roll call. If you're in with us, definitely start by letting us know where you are, whether you're live or in person. It is indeed a blessing. I had a birthday this past weekend, this past Friday. So again, I'm thankful to see another year around the sun. And I also had an opportunity to go on to Principal Kafele's live stream. It's been already over 6,000 viewers with that. So I definitely thank Principal Kafele for allowing me, along with the other guests, to be participants. It was a discussion about courageous conversations. One of the things which I have a lot of experience in, being a principal for a number of years. So it's a great blessing just to be able to share. I'm thankful for that. As you all know, we talk a lot about fostering collaborative spaces for educators, and that's the main thing that we want to do. Today, we are going to we have Dr. William Wade. I'm going to bring him up in a moment. I do want to finish up with what I was saying. Also, this has been Suicide Prevention Month. As you noticed, the prior weeks I had on my purple. I didn't have any more purple to put on, but we still want to definitely be aware that it is Suicide Prevention Month. Always aware of the different months that are going on. Leadership. It's about collaborating, you all. It's about being secure in what you bring to the table. It's about sharing. It's about caring, but it's also about empowering others. That's why we continue to bring you value each week. Each week, you know, we have different guests. Sometimes I go solo, but it's always about bringing value. Couple of updates. As I told you, I was just on Kafele's show. Principal Kafele show. And again, thank him for having me this past weekend. But also, I'll be presenting with the National Association of Secondary School Principals, Leaders of Colors Network this Tuesday. So if you're able to get on with that meeting, definitely a good presentation in line there as well. Also, the Innovative School Summit in Chicago, November 6th through the 9th. If you're able to sign up, we definitely would love to have you in attendance. Also, this past week, dropped a new book, you all. Dropped a new book, Empowering Educational Communities, a guide for teacher-principal collaboration. Let me show you all what the cover looks like before we get going. It's the Gold Ribbon Edition. Gold Ribbon Edition, endorsed by Principal Baruti Kafele as well as Dr. Pedro Nogueira, two international educational leaders, you all. Again, this book gonna be used in book studies with faculties for a long time to come. It helps balance those views between teacher perspectives as well as administrative perspectives and helps bridge those gaps. It's going to be powerful. So if you are a school leader, if you're a teacher, make sure you grab that book, because once you read it, you don't want your other teachers to read it as well as your administrators. If you're an administrator, you're going to want your teachers to read it. That's just going to be a really, really good book for many years to come. And I just want to thank you all for being supportive in this journey. Now, as we get ready to bring up our guest for today, and we'll do our affirmations once we get them in here as well. But I'm going to read you a little bit about Dr. Will Wade. He is an educator who has dedicated his career to shaping the young minds and empowering future generations. I love empowering. Through innovative teaching techniques and a passion for learning, he inspires students to reach their full potential. Join us in celebrating the pivotal role educators like Mr. Rowe play in our communities. He's a product of Chicago, a proud graduate of Hyde Park Career Academy High School. During his time there, he was also a servant for urban American students. Mr. Wade graduated with honors from Oklahoma Junior College in Clarksdale, Mississippi, while attending CJC. He majored in computer science and applied mathematics. He went on to be an SGA business manager and president. He graduated with honors. He then proudly went on to Alcorn State University, where he majored in secondary math education, another powerful math background. Additionally, Mr. Wade served as the business manager for the SGA at Alcorn. Excitingly, he was initiated into Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity while attending. He then went on to Clarksville Municipal School District before relocating to Memphis, Tennessee, where he began as a math teacher at Wooddale High School. He coached various sports there as well. He wasn't limited to the classroom. His student athletes also excelled on playing fields. After leaving Memphis, he then moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where he currently is, where he worked with Atlanta Public Schools, serving as math teacher, small community leader, as well as a coach of various sports. He earned his educational specialist while working in Atlanta. After 10 years there, he went on to Philadelphia Public Schools, where he is known for his legendary work in turning around schools. There's a documentary that is about his work along with the team's work. We Could Be King. That's the title of that on Netflix. And it's a Sports Emmy Award. Okay, this success led Dr. Wade to being offered a position as assistant superintendent and many other positions before he came back to Atlanta, where he is now the proud principal of Georgia's oldest historically Black high school. Welcome to the stage, Dr. Wade. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Dr. Griffin. Thank you for having me.
Yes. I like to start with affirmations. And I would like for you to definitely participate with us, our viewers. They kind of look forward to it. Each week we come with affirmations because we have to empower ourselves so that we can position to empower others.
Yes.
And today we got 3 from our set that we want to go. And you all type it in the chat. Say it loud and proud. If you need to add something to it, add something to it. To whatever you need to do to make it work for you. But I am a leader. That's right. Empower yourself. I am a leader.
I am a leader.
I strive for excellence.
I strive for excellence.
I strive for excellence. I understand my impact on the future. Understand my impact on the future, you all. Understand my impact on the future. Okay, Dr. Wade, you are principal of a very historic institution, and you are celebrating 100 years of existence.
Yes.
Can you kind of trace back just a little bit on what prepared you to come into a role where a school where Martin Luther King Jr. attended at? It's named for Booker T. Washington. Please tell us.
That's right. So, we have our own plans, right, Doc? And then God has another plan for us, right? So I didn't know that I would be here one day. I did not know that I would be leading a school with such a great legacy as Booker T. Washington High School. And my preparation for that, I was able to work in schools as a teacher, small community learner, small community leader, as well as a athletic coach. And I worked in Memphis, Tennessee at Wooddale High School. I worked here in Atlanta at D.M. Thurl High School, Frederick Douglass High School. These are some of the most historical high schools in the state of Georgia and Atlanta. I never had anything to do with Washington High School, my first go around in Atlanta. But because of my work at those schools and also at Alonzo A. Krim Open Campus High School, where we were open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., I was able to be recognized through the National Association of Secondary Schools Principals. I was out at a conference in San Diego, and I was noticed by the team from the School District of Philadelphia, led by Dr. Arlene Ackerman. And she said she was looking for some African-American leaders of color to come and help lead her schools. So I took that opportunity. I was an assistant principal at Alonzo A. Krim at the time. I took that opportunity and went to Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia, I was named a turnaround specialist. So in my 8 years in Philadelphia, I was able to lead 3 high schools to success. I took them off of the persistently dangerous list. I led them to new academic heights. I led them to higher levels of teacher retention. I formed community partners with all of them. And that was all under. So I was the advisor for all Promise Academies in Philadelphia. And with that success came the merger of Germantown High School, one of the most historical high schools in Philadelphia, with Martin Luther King High School. And I was pegged to be the leader of that merger. We had great times. We had great challenges throughout that time because I had to make sure while we were focusing on the holistic child, I had to train staffs. I had to train alumni. I had to deal with government and politics. And it's great. It's really big in Philadelphia, one of our oldest cities in America. But I'm telling you all of that to tell you this. After that great success in Philadelphia, I was pegged to help turn around some schools in Santa Fe, New Mexico, all the way out in New Mexico with all of the challenges that New Mexico had. New Mexico at the time was back and forth with Alabama and Mississippi at being, at the lower end of success for our students in the country. So I had a lot of work to do. And I was, as the associate superintendent, I was aligned with 14 of the traditionally lowest performing schools. And the state, recognized those schools and helped with the progress monitoring of those schools by giving them a A through F rating. So out of all of those schools, before I left there, 9 of those schools were a C or better. And we can talk a little later about how we did that. But that led me to be a small school CEO / superintendent in Pittsburgh, and with Urban Pathways K-5 charter network of schools. And that was more on the executive end. But I'm telling you all to tell you that all of that prepared me for what I'm doing now. And I accepted the role at Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta Public Schools because it's so historical. Civil rights ran through this school. Civil rights was started here in this school. Civil rights started on the west side of Atlanta with the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who is one of the most esteemed alum from Booker T. Washington High School. I just had the opportunity this morning to speak at a church that has been supporting Booker T. Washington High School for many, many years. And I was able to tell this story about how I'm so grateful to lead this high school, knowing that the legacy has to be upheld by me and my administrative team. And we can talk later about how I did that, but I am blessed to know that the intersection of the right time and the right place happened at the right time. And I told this story in New York at the Innovative Schools Conference this year to Dr. Kafele, Principal Kafele, and he knew exactly where I was. He knew the school. He knew that we were just footsteps away from the AU Center, from Morris Brown, from Clark, from Spelman, and from Morehouse. And so it was great that he knew, such a great educator. He knew about the work that I was doing here in Atlanta, Georgia. But it's very important work, and I'm very proud to be doing it, Dr. Griffin.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And not to stray away from that, but I heard some key things in your comment right there. And you talked about the various places that you have served. That takes a lot of courage to be able to go where there's a need for your services. That can you speak just briefly and quickly to any of our educators or just people who may be watching or viewing, what's it like to go after your visions and to have the confidence that the things that you set out for are going to be accomplished?
Well, I don't stray away from a challenge at all, Doc. And there's many schools that need leaders like us that are committed. And it's not enough of us. And I know many, just like you, just like me, just like Principal Kafele, just like Pedro, but it's not enough of us. And when others say no, we say yes. And so I say yes to those challenges. I know I'm prepared. I'm a product of Chicago Public Schools and everything that goes with being an urban school, African-American male in urban America. I have witnessed it, the trauma that is involved with that, everything that goes with that. Single parent household. After my dad passed when I was 16, everyone counted us out. I have 3 brothers and a sister, so it was 4 males in the house. Nobody thought we would do much. We're all doing great things now because we stayed focused. But that gives me the confidence to know that I can step into any situation in urban America and make a difference. From the principal, associate superintendent, even superintendent, I can make a difference because I know I have a very short process of things that I do that make sure that our students know that we care about them. Our teachers know through on-the-job training, job-embedded training, that we care about them and their growth. And our community knows that we care about them, as well as the esteemed alumni from these great schools. The alumni wants you to keep everything intact. They want you to make sure that the band is still marching with their knees up high, that the school colors are upheld, that the mascot is upheld. You keep the grounds neat and clean, and then they want to hear about academic achievement. And so that's what we do. And I'm not afraid to shy away from those courageous conversations that come with that work. And those courageous conversations are connected to my, team. I can be very influential. I can be very excited with the work, but I can't do anything without my team. And that team is teachers dominate the yearly budget. That's who really makes this work. Because I'm a former teacher. I have to make sure that they are ready and they have all the tools in their toolbox to be successful in the classroom. So we can talk a little later about what I do to make sure that they have the correct on-the-job training and they're ready to do the work.
Definitely. So I heard you touch on collaboration, which is one of the things that we pretty much talk about each week here on the Speaking Life into You Leadership live screen, because it's essential. It's even more critical when legacy is at stake. And you just mentioned the legacy that you're living. How can you collaborate, or how are you collaborating with the stakeholders to ensure that you honor those traditions as well as continue to move forward with the visions that you have for the school?
Well, I don't have to tell you, and I hope this gets out to everyone, especially some of our first year APs, first year principals. You have to form a partnership. So I have a moniker that says parents are our partners, right? And I have parents are our partners, our parents are our partners meetings every month. Just had one. It's a big giant information session so that they believe in me, and I give them some data, traditional data trends and how we're trending now. I'm totally transparent and vulnerable when it comes to where we are doing great and where we're not doing great. And I share that with them. And I share that through growth every month that we meet. And that's the parents. And I also am very transparent with our partners. And I do that because I was very fortunate to have a partnership manager on my budget that goes out and does that work while I'm doing the work in the school. So that person goes out and communicates our successes and our challenges to partners in the community. I also have a parent liaison, and that's familiar. That's a familiar position across the country. We have parent ombudsmen, parent liaisons, and though that person, led by me, creates that platform for the parents' voices to be heard, as well as the platform for our parents to be able to come in our school and be educated in certain areas. The most important, why are all of these high stakes tests going on? That's a session. We have sessions on financial literacy. That's a session, and so on and so forth when we're talking about our parents. And with our partners, we talk about the why. Why are we asking you to partner with us? Well, here is where the budget fell short. We had the CARES Act money because of the pandemic, and this is what we need now. And we go through all of that with them, so they know that we're asking the right questions. We're providing the necessary information that goes along with the work that we do every day. So I have yet to tell for anyone to tell me no, not at all. And I have many parents that didn't know that know now. So we're going to have 6 of these giant meetings for parents are our partners. Before then, we really measured the first 6 because we want to really see how effective they are before the end of the school year. When we have those meetings, they grow every year. They grow. I have 895 students, and this first one was attended by roughly 120 parents, which is large in the urban setting. And we're going to grow that and continue to grow that. My goal, we started in the cafeteria. I want these meetings to end up in the gymnasium so that we can have appropriate seating for everyone.
Good. Yeah, improvement is never a one-person job. You got to always include various stakeholders in that process. So I hear what you're doing, and I definitely hope that our viewers are picking it up, whether they're live or whether they get this later and they look on the recording. But we touched on it just a bit, but I do want you to kind of go a little bit deeper into some of those institutional practices that you're leading with in your turnaround effort at Booker T, or that you've done at other places as well. You talked about some of your inputs.
Right. So everything that we do during our traditional school hours, we share with our parents. So weekly newsletters. We have something in Atlanta Public Schools we have a group at every school called the GO Team. The GO Team stands for the governance team. So every school has a team that looks like a school board. So of course we have the Atlanta Public Schools Board of Education, but every school in Atlanta has a GO Team, a governance team. That team is made up of students, parents, teachers, stakeholders, community business leaders, politicians, And so we have anywhere from 8 to 10 people on our Go team. And I have to put everything, all my initiatives to a vote. They have to approve it before we move on. And that's everything that we do. The student's voice is really, really important because it seems as if everyone on that committee listens to the students, especially at the high school level, because they know what their high school experience they know what they want their high school experience to be. So we make sure that we talk about that. And so I'm really big on doing board presentations. I was used to that when I was out in New Mexico doing board presentations so that we can get the board members to vote in our favor for certain initiatives that we were trying to get passed. But at the school level in Atlanta, and you see this in Chicago with local school councils, that's what it's called, the local school councils, the LSC programs. But the Go team here is really important because I really get to, around January, February, unpack my budget with them, justify my budget. And if they don't agree with some things that we're doing, they don't vote for it. So I've been fortunate enough to make sure that everything is aligned with student success. And I've been fortunate enough for my Go team to vote in favor of all of our initiatives to support student success at our school. I do a really big wraparound around holistic student support, Doc, and that is I really pay attention to the mental health of our students in our schools. And we're now just getting in urban America. We're just now really having an opportunity to be proud about our young people embracing mental health. It used to be taboo. They didn't want to, mental health was not a cool thing. But I say every day on my intercom, Doc, it's okay to not be okay. So that's really big. Before we start with Algebra 1, trigonometry, advanced trig, dual enrollment, culinary arts, all of our programs, we have to make sure our students feel okay. So that's number one, the holistic, the whole child. You hear a lot of people right now, the buzzword is the whole child. No, I really meet it at my school. I meet them on the curb every morning. We high five, we side hug, we talk about things. How's your mom doing? How's your grandmom doing? That's number one for me. That is absolutely number one. Before, and then I have to know. And so when they pass me, so I'm with 6 people on the curve with me every morning. They travel through the gymnasium coming into school. They meet 6 more people, which those are guidance counselors, social workers, communities in schools, Chris 180, which is our mental health group that works with us, my psychologist. Then they go through the courtyard, Doc, and they have 12 more people. And then they go in the cafeteria where they're having breakfast. So we start classes at 8:30. Doors open at 8 o'clock. From 8 to 8:30, they've interacted with 40 or 50 people. That's our duties. We want to know what's going on with them. So we have metal detectors, right? We have Centegics, what we wear around our neck, and just in case we have an intruder or just in case something happened. That's all proactive. That's reactive. The proactive work that we do is building relationships with our students from the beginning. Every morning we do that. And that's one thing that we do. Then we have an engaging curriculum and we embrace. So our signature motto at our school is STEM. So we have tons of project-based learning in our schools. In my school, we have project-based learning in my school. For example, I observed a teacher last week that's getting ready to start a garden on the top of my building, a rooftop garden, right?
Yeah.
In that rooftop, in that curriculum. Yeah, that's right. In that curriculum, we have language arts, social studies, mathematics, and science, all in that. And so our students are really interested. So that disengaged student becomes engaged. And what happens? Attendance goes up.
Yes.
Discipline goes down.
Yes.
They're involved. So that's really big on what we do. And then we tell our story. Number 3, we tell our story to the community. We tell them what we're doing. We need some more seeds for the rooftop. We need some more soil for the rooftop. And then why? Here's why. And here's my common formative assessments that we use to see that they're acting. Now we're having fun, but we're still aligned to the state standards because we're still held accountable to do well on the end of course testing, the MAPS testing, the MAPS assessments, and the short cycle assessments that the teachers are giving. So it's all connected. And that's what we do to make sure that we're doing exactly what we need to do in our classrooms to engage. And all of this is undergirded and supported by data, right? We're talking about the data. What's working, what's not working. And when we talk about that cycle of learning, we can remove things that are not working and enhance things that are working. So that's my day in a nutshell. That's what we do. And all of that, and that cycle of learning, we want our teachers to know this is a place that you can come and get better. So that's why I created the Teachers Academy at Booker T. Washington High School. Twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays during planning periods, we do our PLCs, professional learning communities, where we unpack the data from our CFAs. We talk about the exemplars. This is what the great work looks like. This is where our students that are not doing well looks like, and we unpack that. Then we talk about our subgroups, our English language learners. We talk about our SWD students with disabilities, our special needs students, and we go directly to their needs. Now, this is tough work, Doc. We've had to separate from some folks because they couldn't do this work. But I'm in year 3 now, and we're really moving. We're really moving. This is school turnaround. This is what happened in Philadelphia with all those schools I turned around. We were really plugged in for the work. We didn't find any more. When I first started in education, Doc, I've been around long enough. We had newspaper teachers, and you don't know what that is.
Newspaper teachers.
Newspaper teachers. They put their feet on the desk, and they gave worksheets out, and the teachers were reading newspapers. I don't have no newspaper teachers nowhere around me anymore. And I saw that as a rookie coming in from Alcorn State University, right? I saw that when I was in Clarksdale, when I was in Memphis. I'm not trying to shine any negative light, but we had some folks that took this career and did not take it serious and did not love our children. I love our children, and everybody I associate with love our children. I'm going to do everything to make them great. And I've been around long enough, Doc, to see that cycle come around full circle, where they're now these young ladies and young men are leaders in their communities. They're professionals, they're entrepreneurs, they're graduates of great institutions of higher learning. And I know that I did my job right. If I would not have done that, who knows where they may be, right? And so I've been able to highlight that in my career for so long. But all of that is in a nutshell what I've done to make sure that we are who we say we are, Doc.
Yeah. I love it. And for the viewers, Dr. Wade, he's on a documentary where he's actually done this. And I was gonna pull the doc, but Netflix, YouTube would not let me download it. But you go to the We Could Be King. He's at
It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime, Doc. You can find it right now on Amazon Prime.
All right, he's at the 1918 point in action. He's at the 27:49 point in action, the 30-minute and 20-second point. And then he's got some stuff at the 45-minute point as well, where he's actually in action doing it on the job. So I saw you, Dr. Wade. We appreciate you here. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
One of the things I heard you mention also was recognizing trauma. That's actually one of the 33 principles in the DIP approach for student and adult success that we tout in our cultural leadership aspects of our programs here at Joe Griffin Global. And I know the importance of that, especially with our students. Like you said, it's been taboo for so long. How are you able to ensure through your institutional as well as instructional practices that is taken into consideration for our students?
What was that again, Doc?
Recognizing those traumas, dealing with them, and helping them move forward.
Absolutely. So that goes back to me making sure that we focus on the holistic learner. I'm on the west side of Atlanta, and I'm not being narcissistic or anything, but my cluster of schools is 5 of us, and they all feed into my school. We educate the toughest group to be educated in the city of Atlanta because of all of the outliers that are there that goes along with urban education, the things that become obstacles that get in the way of learning. So it's very big. And my school district has invested in that. We don't have to ask. We don't have to ask about the psychological help that we need, the one-on-one sit downs that our students need. We have something called Hazel Health, where a student can get on the spot help via the internet platform. They can go into a room that we have a wellness room, and we have iPads set up where they can go live with a therapist if they need to. We also have a organization called Chris 180 right in our school. We have the psychologists in the building, and then APS pays for our own psychologists. So our students are now finally accepting the fact that, once again, it's okay to not feel okay. What is this feeling I'm having? What is this anxiety I'm having around being at school? Nobody wants to talk about trigonometry or chemistry if I'm not feeling well at school. When those things become ignored and our students are giving all the warning signs, then you see ugly things happen in schools. We've been able to avoid that by paying attention to our scholars. We pay attention. And so we direct them to the help that they need. Do we capture them all? Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have that fight to break out because we haven't captured it. But I take those moments to use as a teachable moment for my team. Today is the day. That's what I say. Today is the day that something's going to happen. Not if it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I need you to know that you work at a place on the west side of Atlanta, historical place, that you have to work longer hours. You have to call more parents. You have to have a more detailed lesson plan to involve all of these subgroups.
Yes.
This is the day. It's not if it's going to happen. So that we have to be on the proactive side more. And of course, you and I know that someone like you and someone like me, we get labeled. We're doing too much. No, we're doing too much. No, I'm not doing enough, Doc. I'm not doing enough. I want to catch everything. And in my work in New Mexico, in Philadelphia, in Pittsburgh, in Memphis, here, I'm proud to say I'm doing too much. I'm doing too much because I'm trying to capture everything. And I'm really mad as heck of the things I don't capture, because that means someone that I'm depending on hasn't caught the same things I'm trying to catch. You and I both know we can't do it all. We can't do it all. We think we can do it all. We can't do it all. But I work I'm so passionate about my work. I model. I'm there early, leave late. I'm at all extracurricular activities. I'm doing this work. Been doing it for years. This is my 35th year. Been doing this work, and I don't know how many folks. I can't put a real number on the folks that I've redirected and turned towards a different pathway. Now, I do know the ones that find me, and I didn't tell you this fact. I didn't tell you this, Doc. I have 76 parents at my school that I was there. I mean, and they sent their children to me. I was their administrator or their teacher.
The first time around.
So they're young adults now. They said, Mr. Wade is at Washington. My children are coming to Washington because I know what he can do. And they happen to be living in the zone. And that has happened to me. And that fuels my fire. I'm like, these children respected me so much that they're sending their children to me. So I'm just capturing that social emotional part you talked about. And what do we need to know before we put pencil to paper, before we open up the Chromebooks, before we start writing on the whiteboard? We don't use chalk anymore. I've been around a long time. We used to use chalk. Before we start the Scantrons and the risograph machine, that's old school. But before we do that, what do we need to know about the child? And I know a lot about every child that's at my school.
Definitely. Yeah, that connection, it leads to empowerment. Then that empowerment, where that true collaboration comes in.
Absolutely.
I believe that to the core of my heart. And we all know that instructional leadership, that's also core to what we do as leaders, especially at our schools. So with that in mind, I love, as some of my high yielding signature practice that I know I'm going to bring in. I love stations. I love reciprocal teaching because they are high yielding, impactful strategies they also are culturally responsive practices because it allows that communication in the classroom, which is so important when you're dealing with students of color. What are some of your signature instructional inputs or implementations or initiatives that you plan on bringing as well?
Well, what I have brought,
What you're implementing, because you're in year
right,
3.
right. I'm a firm believer that every student needs an IEP. I really am. They're good tier 1 instruction. So I operate on that when the budget allows. When I was in Philadelphia, we, as a Promise Academy, we were given additional funding, additional staff, longer school days, and that all was in alignment with what I wanted. I wanted very robust 0 periods before school. I wanted very robust after school programs, right? And I got that because I had the money to pay for it. It's not cheap. You have to pay for transportation. You have to pay for staff. You have to pay for resources. And that's where we were able to see academic growth. But at the same time, I had to, through my parent liaison, create that awareness around why. Why do you want my kid to come to school early? Why do you want my kid to stay late? And so we had to have the funding for that. So everywhere you see me, you'll see that extended day. And that's on the front end or the back end. I created that at every school I turned around, and the Promise Academies in Philadelphia. And I created something called Yale, YALE, like the famous university. But that stood for Youth Alternative Learning Environment. That's what Yale stood for, because I recognized, Doc, and my team recognized that every child is not going to thrive in the traditional setting. They're not. And if we think that they are, we're going to lose children. And and the data that everyone looks at is going to reflect that we're not doing anything for that population. So long before the pandemic, I created a school within a school. I did that. I started that in 2009 through 2015, 16 in Philadelphia. And in those programs, you saw we were focusing on the students that needed us the most. You and I both know that we have a subgroup of students with dual parents and grandparents, and they have academia high on their minds, and they're going to do well if no one is in the classroom. They're going to do great. That's even in the urban setting. But we have that other group that needs us.
That push. They need that
extra push. They need us. They need us. They're not going to do well unless they have a caring adult in front of them, a teacher and administrators. That's who I really catered to, right? And every day I have students walk to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Wade, my name is so-and-so," and I don't even know who they are because they are super students that have done great. I know Johnny Blankenship, who comes to school 3 times a week, and then when he comes to school, he skips class and all that. I have to program for them, and I've been able to do that. So those are some of the signatures you're going to see from me. And in that, I have a Teachers Academy, Doc, that I create at every school that has that training for teachers in all those different areas so that they don't give up on Johnny Blankenship, right? They are used to dealing with them. Cultural sensitive training. This is who you are dealing with. If you thought you were dealing with someone else, they lied to you. This is our work. So you asked about the programming. It's high on my programming is high on numeracy, high on literacy, and I spread literacy throughout all core content areas. We have a literacy program, and I have something I'm doing now called Lunch and Learn. I go and bring all of my SWD students on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have a partnership with Morehouse where I have 45 to 50 tutors in my media center, and I give them lunch, everyone lunch, and it's called Lunch and Learn, and we're going over some standards-based tutorials that's helping my students do well in the classroom. That's first. Second, they're going to do well on the end of course testing because we are leaning in on these high-stakes teachable moments where we're teaching them during that lunch and learn period. And, you know, all of our students, they love pizza and they love tater tots. And I leverage that. And they're going to remember that when they move on. And so, and we also lean heavily, Doc, on our common formative assessments, because I need to know where you are as a teacher. Are you being effective? Effective teaching is great. And I need to know where my students are. So I have instructional coaches now for all core content areas and my signature programming. I have an instructional coach for my STEM programming, which is, you know, the project-based learning. I have an instructional coach for, I'm not mentioning the four that I have four for social studies, science, language arts, and math. And then I have one for STEM, that's 5. I have one for my gifted and instructional coach, that's 6. I have 2, they're called SELTs, SELT, special ed lead teacher. So I'm up to 7 now. I have 2 for my special ed push in, pull out, small group. They're teaching my teachers how to teach. And I lean in on all of that. And because I'm a teacher and I know how to teach all those. And I'm not being narcissistic, Doc. I just been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
I know how to reach my students and I support them. I'm not evaluating them at this point. It's early. I'm coaching them. This is how you get the best out of our students. I'm coaching them, and we meet once a week to talk about that. And we meet through my institutional effectiveness meetings. We meet, we put all those key performance indicators up that I'm talking about. Success in the classroom, behavior, attendance. We're talking about all of that. And if it's going great, what do we do to augment that? The augmentation of that. How do we keep it great? If it's not doing so great, a strategy, how we got to get rid of that. But things that are okay, how do we build on that? So we talk about that every week, and we really have tons of actionable items to make sure we can get to the next level. We don't sip coffee. We don't just chill out. We don't do that. They know I don't do that. And they know when I'm coming around, it's about action, because we don't get to come this way. We're not going to get to come this way again. This is one time. It's over. We can't repeat 2024 ever again. So I want to build and build and build. And when it's over, like I told the church today, when we were talking about the 100 and we were talking about the next 100, I told them, and I was firm, I'm going to leave you better than I found you. And that's it. That's the work that we do, Doc. I hope that covered your question.
Yeah. That definitely covered it. You dropped a bombshell of information. I hope the viewers are listening. I hope that they are getting the value added. And I heard you mention cultural sensitivity, cultural relevance, cultural competence. All go along with cultural enhancements as well. And they affect instruction as well as all of your other practices. As we prepare our final couple of questions, what cultural enhancements have you made that viewers or someone listening could take away that will help them produce a positive and productive school environment like you have at Booker T. Washington?
Right. You don't know what you don't know. So through the interview process, and I pride myself on being having a keen eye for talent, right? Not talent that fits in some Gwinnett County schools. I'm not talking that. I'm talking about talent that fits in Atlanta public schools, or some talent that may fit in Chicago public schools, or the Los Angeles Unified, or urban. I don't have an eye for talent for folks that are in rural America or wealthy, well-off. I have an eye for talent that folks that are going to do great in my school setting. And so I want to make people, you have to let folks be very honest. It's Doc, a lot of principals, assistant superintendents, and human resources, they get caught up on being fully staffed by day one.
Yeah.
We need to be fully staffed by day one. No, you don't. You have to be fully staffed with the right folks. Right. You'll be back at square one. I have said no to many people, and it's not being mean. You have to know where you're going to be impactful. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to put a finger on folks that are going to thrive in my setting. like I said, once again, you're going to face times where you have to burn that clock after hours. You have to be around late. You have to make additional phone calls. You have to do that. If I find out someone that doesn't want to do that, then this is not the place for you. It's about the right fit. Yeah, I believe in it. I guess my downfall, I've been told, is I love people. I love all people. But when I deal with this job, I have to pick the right people, the right people to do this work. And so, to answer your question, I have a keen eye for people with talent. And on the back end, that makes my job easier because I don't have to explain. So that's why I am year 3 right now with Booker T. Washington High School, because when I did take over the job, and I know this is publicly recorded, and I don't mind saying it, and they know it too, I had some people in place that were not the right fit. And the scary part about it, Doc, they had been in place for years and not the right fit, and they were allowing Atlanta public schools to get them out of debt and to pay bills. That's not what this is about. This is about being the right fit so you can be an immediate impact on the students that we serve, Doc. So I pride myself on putting people in the right place, and I let them know that this is a place where you can come and learn. Of course, the Atlanta Public Schools helped me out this year because they gave everyone 11 to 12% raise across the board. Now we're the highest paid folks in the Southeast of America. So now I have a pipeline of educators that I can go to if I need to. And we were fully staffed by June 1st with people that got it. They were experienced folks ready to go. And I see it now in action. I mean, I see it. They're working, and we're going, I'm telling you, in 2 or 3 years, we can come back. We come back before that, Doc. But in a year or two, you're going to see my results on paper, on website, in the news, that we are really making gains. We're bigger than the band. We're bigger than the school colors. We're bigger than the gigantic tradition. We have returned this neighborhood high school to its glory days because of that.
I love it. And that actually leads and feeds right into the final question.
Mm-hmm.
Because every great leader has to have not necessarily a plan of succession, but they know that they're leaving a legacy behind, and they know that they're setting up their organization for the future. As you push forward with your tenure with historic Booker T. Washington, how do you envision the next 100 years of the school? I heard you mention that you wanted to leave it in a better place, but how do you envision that playing out over the next 100 years? You a psychic.
Yeah, well, now listen, I thought about that today. That was really big today. Everybody was, I don't care how much water I drink, how much rest I get, I'm not gonna be around for the next 100 years. I won't be here to lead it. But just like, if I'm allowed to use this example, I never met Michael Jackson, but his music still rings in our ears, right? Yeah. He's not here, and his music is going to be around for an eternity, forever. That's what I want to happen, and I want that to be in place at Booker T. Washington High School. I want them to know, and so I don't mention it right now. Today we had a whole lot of conversation around Dr. Harper, the first principal at Booker T. Washington High School. Okay. His mark that he left, it was so many people that wanted to go to this historically Black high school. They had 3 shifts. They paid no attention to the traditional scheduling. They had a morning team where they educated 7th, 8th, and 9th in the morning. Then they had a team to come through where they had 10th, 11th, 12th. Then they had a night school for the parents that didn't get an education to come in. So they had 3 schools in this one because he was trying to catch up with 400 years of slavery, right? He had that, the school board had that, and I promise you, night school just ended maybe 10 years ago. And then, of course, we had to go to the traditional model of elementary, middle, and high. But he left something in place that's still in place now, 100 years. And then we're doing senior induction on Tuesday, where we still dress like the seniors from the first graduating class was in 1927. School opened in 1924. It was in 27-28. We still do the same at graduation. We dress like them. So those are things that are in place. My legacy that I want. My legacy. So I'm third year, right? Yeah. I probably got a couple of things known for me, and Nothing I'm super proud of. I'm probably the only principal from Chicago. All the rest of them are from this area. I'm probably the, because of socioeconomic things, I'm probably the highest paid principal. That go down in history, in the history books, right? But I want my Teachers Academy to go down in history. I want that to remain, meaning teachers can come here and get better and stay, so that we don't have a high turnover every year. I want my graduation rates for urban high school to remain high, because my first cohort would be 2026. Everyone else, I'm trying to catch up. When I got to Booker T. Washington High School, we were hovering, because of the pandemic, anywhere from high 50s% to 60s in graduation rates, which is nothing that I've ever, in my schools have always graduated at higher rates than that. But all of my cohorts from 2026 to forever, because I have a high focus on track for graduation rates. I didn't say we're going to give grades. We're just going to create a real good safety net to make sure when our students fall back, we bring them back. And so we're doing that now. So everyone from 2026 on, 27, 28, 29, we're going to graduate close. We're trying to get to 100% for every class, which is unheard of. So that's my legacy. And I want that to be a mainstay when I'm dead and gone, that Booker T. Washington High School graduate students at very high rates, teachers are trained, and we have pathway completers at very high levels in our culinary arts, our computer science, and all of our other programs. My fine arts are really enjoyed. They're really enjoyed now. I have a chorus teacher that's dynamic. I have a fine arts teacher that's dynamic. I have a band teacher that's dynamic. I have the #1 dance team in the state. I want that to be passed on. I don't want any letdown, but I want the intensity to be so great that even when we create our succession plans, we find somebody that's great. I want at every interview, and I'm sorry, I'm going to stop right here, Dr. Griffin. I want at every interview for principal, they say, if you're not like Will Wade, we don't want you. That's what I want. We don't want you. If you're not as committed, if you're not as innovative, if you're not as supportive, if you don't grow your staff and hire from within, we don't want you, because that's what I do. And I want that to happen. And I haven't had the opportunity to study every year from 1924, but I do know some of the great leaders. I know Dr. Shirley Kilgore. I met her when I was here the first time, a famous principal of Booker T. Washington High School. I know Mr. Carter Coleman. I know them, and I know what they stood for. But then you have those gaps, right? You have those gaps. I want everyone to know where they are. Everyone to know. Vernon Jordan went here. Dr. King went here. Lena Horne went here.
Okay.
On and on and on. And then, Little Baby went here. I want them to know that excellence comes from this school. And when I'm gone, and I don't have to be dead to be gone, dog. I can just be gone, right? So
right.
When I'm gone, I want that to be the standard. Those are the standards, and I'm working hard towards that, so that we don't have any letdown, because most of the schools that I led still have that standard of high achievement. Most of them where I led still have that standard. Even the ones that I supported, the principals in New Mexico, they still have that standard through awareness and hard work. We don't want to be an F school in New Mexico. We don't want to be an F school. And I told them, involve the community, involve the students. You won't be an F school. You have to make sure they know. And so I'm having a great time in my leisure, going back, doing some Googling and seeing where they are and how I left them.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Definitely happy 100-year anniversary to you, Principal Wade, and to Booker T. Washington. If you want to lift yourself up, lift someone else up. One of Booker T. Washington's famous quotes. Is there anything that you would like to say to viewers, maybe some word of advice? Also, if you want to leave your information, perhaps someone wants to contact you after viewing this live stream, because what I found, I will come back and watch us later and try to get them. So we definitely want to give them a way to contact.
I just want to say that we have to evolve with education. We can't continue to think that we can use a cookie cutter approach and reach our children. Those days are long and gone. They have the World Wide Web in their hand. They have access to information. Our students are not choosing to go to higher ed in high numbers anymore. So we have to be able to serve our students if they're going into entrepreneurship, if they're going into the armed forces, if they're going to the Ivy League, if they're going to learn a trade to be successful. We have to be able to do that now because they're going to make more money than we ever made. They're going to do that. And the final thing, they have to know, and I know I'm talking primarily to educators, but they have to know that our students has to be served as individuals, not as a whole group. If we had more time, I'll tell you about my experience in high school. We don't. But they were high. I was at High Park Career Academy in Chicago. It was 5,000 students. I was there from 83 to 87. If you got it, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't. You fell off. Nobody put that safety net under us. Yeah. They catered to the Michelle Obamas at the time, who was in school with me, not at my school. She was at Whitney Young. They catered to those folks that are on the higher end of success. They didn't cater to us, not me. I cater to everyone. Everyone. I have students from both ends, right? I need everyone to focus on that. And lastly, I want everybody to remember that I was on the planning committee in New Mexico for the early college. It was called ECO, Early College Opportunities. We partnered with Santa Fe Public Schools partnered with Santa Fe Community College. Those students that did not like traditional school, we saw it up close. They did not like traditional schools. We put those CTAE programs around them. We started talking about project-based learning. We were able to embed ELA, math, social studies, and science in those programs and curriculum. And they did great, and the school is still thriving. I helped to plan the new facility for them. We passed a general obligation bond, a GO bond, with the school board and the community. They voted yes for it. They built a multi-million-dollar facility, and I don't care what anybody says. They're not going to put my name on the building. They're not going to do any of that. But I helped because I knew those kids were going to drop out, get suspended, and do other things if we didn't create a platform for them to love learning and education. And so and I'm proud about that in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we're recreating that now in Atlanta Public Schools. We're making sure all of our students have an outlet to be successful in education. So if educators are listening, or when they do watch this, focus on every child. Focus on every single child. That's all I had, Doc.
All right. Definitely appreciate you joining us today, Dr. Wade. Definitely been an insightful conversation, an inspiring conversation. You gave a lot of great nuggets. We thank you for that. And for those that have been viewing, again, I want to provide you my information as well as what we do here at Joe Griffin Global. Don't forget the Global DNA Behavior Assessment, along with the accompanying coach. I am a Global DNA Certified Leadership Behavior Coach. So if you're interested in those, please reach out. I still have a free assessment that we're going to do for our principals or superintendents and their top two. I'll make sure you get one, Dr. Wade, as well. And all we want to do is follow up, have a meeting with you, and let you see how you increase your collaboration immediately with the data. DNA, again, as we talked about with my recurring affiliate guests, data needs action. It also came up on yesterday on Principal Kafele show. If you did not get a chance to see that, again, make sure you watch it. I also want to, in addition to the new book, I do want to share with you the list of books that I have. So please make sure you go cop Empowering Educational Communities, a guide for teacher principal collaboration today. We want you to get that today. Get that in your hands so that you can make the moves and the necessary adjustments to create that culture of collaboration that you know you want in your schools. And of course, we've got the rest of our collection that also goes with professional development that we provide. We got our educational leadership success pillar. We've got our cultural leadership pillar as well as our organizational leadership pillar. So just remember that for all your comprehensive school improvement services, make sure you contact Joe Griffin Global. That's my information. Again, it's been wonderful. I thank Dr. Wade. Let's talk a little bit off screen before we get out of here. I'm going to close up the live stream. Otherwise, stay motivated. Make sure you're prepared to elevate and do what you need to do and be the best educator that you can be. Dr. Joe, here you are, always speaking and writing life into you. Have the best evening.
All right, goodbye. Thank you.